Hey Mama, welcome to the Mrs. Mummy PhD podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Gibbs, wife, mama of 3, and doctor of the PhD kind. On this podcast, we talk honestly about high achievement, burnout, and what it looks like to lead well across home, work, and self. So if you're an ambitious mother scholar who's quietly exhausted by the pace you've been keeping and starting to realize that survival isn't the same as success, this podcast is for you. Mrs. Mummy PhD began during my own PhD journey as a wife and mama. Today, as a postdoctoral scholarly mama working across 2 leadership roles, this work has evolved. It's no longer just about finishing the PhD well, it's about creating sustainable ways of learning, leading, and living at any stage of your journey without losing yourself in the process. If you are ready to move from survival to restoration, you're in the right place. Let's begin. These are our journeys of becoming. Hey Mama, welcome back to the Mrs. Mummy PhD podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so pleased as always to have you here listening to the podcast. So thank you. So in the last episode, we talked about the difference between survival and success and how burnout in high achieving mothers is often really subtle. And we talked about why sustainability really should be a part of our definition of success. It often is overlooked, but it should be a part of our definition of success. And today I want to go a bit deeper in this episode because I think that awareness alone doesn't change very much. Being aware that burnout is subtle and quiet and can sneak up on any one of us at any time, it doesn't change it if we don't change how we actually lead ourselves. And this is a part that we don't often talk about enough because most high achieving mamas do not need more motivation. We are motivated. We want to do the work. We want to achieve the thing. We want to get results. We are motivated, right? And that motivation comes deep. Our whys are deep, from being the first in your family to achieve whatever it is that you're doing, or being the first whatever, fill in the blanks, right? And so it's not motivation that we are lacking. We don't need more planners. We've got enough of those. They're everywhere. They don't solve the problem. We don't need another productivity hack or trick or tip these things are great, but in themselves, they will not prevent us from getting burnt out. What we really need is a different relationship with ourselves, with our work, with what we're actually doing and what we're trying to achieve, with achievement and ambition, really. Because here's the truth. You can rest more. You can take as many holidays as possible. You can have a weekend off every single weekend of the year, and you can still come back to the same pressure. Because if that voice in your head, if that internal narrative is the same, that narrative that says, I should do better, I should cope, I should be achieving the next thing. This is just a busy season. Everyone else manages. I'll slow down after the next deadline, after I submit the next award, after I submit the next grant. These are the things that we say to ourselves. And if that voice hasn't changed, it's not going to matter, right? That voice, it doesn't sound cruel. It sounds quite responsible. Sounds like you're leading. But that actually comes from a place of survival. The survival voice that's saying, you've just got to keep going. You've just got to keep going, right? And I know that voice well because for a long time, mine sounded the same. I chose this life. And I was doing my PhD, marriage, kids, career, multiple maternity leaves. I chose that. You chose it. You should be able to handle it. Or that voice may say something like, I don't want to be the only one who can't keep up. I don't want to be that person, right, who doesn't keep up. Or it may even say, I should be grateful for these amazing opportunities. And yes, they are amazing opportunities to be had. But gratitude in itself, and gratitude is so important, don't get it twisted, but gratitude in itself is not going to solve the burnout, the quiet, subtle burnout. I kept asking myself, how can I be more efficient? How can I be more productive? How can I do more? That's not self-leadership. That is self-management. That is managing a situation. That is not leading a situation, because self-leadership isn't about the best hacks and doing all the things that are still continuing to burn you out. It's about understanding how I'm leading myself, where I'm leading myself to. That assumes that I understand where I want to go and what I want to achieve. And that's a holistic view. That's not just in this moment or on this particular task, but generally, where do I want to take my journey, my career, my life? So what am I leading myself toward, and why? Why do I want that? Because any type of leadership is directional. Self-leadership in particular, you're going somewhere, you're becoming someone, you're becoming something. And if that direction that you're going is constant urgency, permanent tiredness, no thinking space, no thinking time, no space to reflect or refine, then it doesn't really matter how successful it looks. You're leading yourself to depletion. And so what shifted this for me was kind of realizing that burnout isn't just about workload. It's about giving myself that internal permission to pause, to say no, to change direction, to pivot, to change pace, to redefine success. But as high achieving mothers, we are often terrible at giving ourselves permission to choose, permission to rest, permission to take a break, permission to decide, actually, I don't want this for myself anymore. So we wait for a crisis. We wait till we're chronically exhausted. We wait for somebody else to tell us it's okay to take a break. It's okay to pause. It's okay to rest. We wait for someone else to tell us that, instead of deciding that this pace no longer suits my values, no longer reflects what I want. This pace is not really working for me, right? Or instead of asking, is this actually sustainable? Can I keep this up in the longer term? That is real self-leadership. It's not dramatic or requiring you to reinvent yourself. It's not quitting. It's a quiet moment where you realize I'm treating myself like a resource and not like an actual human being. And I was having this discussion with a friend just this week. We were talking about quiet burnout and how sometimes that can even come from a place of misalignment, when we feel ourselves just chronically exhausted because we're exerting so much energy to keep up with something that no longer serves us, that no longer is aligned with where we're going and what we want to become, because we haven't given ourselves permission to evolve. We think that the goals and the dreams that we had, 20 years ago should be the same ones now, when life has changed, responsibilities have changed, circumstances have changed, our focus has changed, our energy is different. Hello. That's for the over 40s, like me, right? Energy has changed. I remember when I was in my first degree, how many other years ago, my goodness, and just being able to work like you would not believe, wake up at 4 a.m. and study every morning, go to bed, wake up, study for a few hours, go to classes, get my assignments done, do really well. Can I do that now? No, I can't. I have no desire to, because my life is different. My capacity is different, right? And so sometimes the exhaustion comes from the load. Yes, that is a huge contributor. The number of things we're juggling, the volume of work, the sheer requirements, and the intellectually challenging work that we do. But sometimes it's also misalignment. It's where something no longer fits who you are becoming. And that is exhausting. And so rest alone doesn't fix this exhaustion and burnout. Because if you rest and you return to the same internal narrative, the same rules, the same routines, all that will happen is that you will recover enough to keep overextending, to keep doing the most, to keep pushing yourself beyond your limits. And I know for me, I needed a version of success that included health and well-being, presence, purpose, peace of mind, ambition as well. There needed to be space for that. And it wasn't that this version of success needed to be instead of ambition or instead of, high achievement or instead of achieving whatever it is that we're seeking to achieve. But it shouldn't be the cost of our joy, our peace, our purpose. It should complement it. And so I wanted to give you these 3 simple self-leadership questions, practices, whatever you want to call them, that you can try out this week that will help you begin to lead yourself differently. So the first is interrupt the survival script. So when you notice yourself thinking, I should be doing better, I should be doing more, I should just cope, I should just push through, this is just a busy season, maybe pause and ask, is this a values-based decision? Or is this based on fear of not keeping up, fear of failure? Is this actually how I want to live? That question alone changes the tone of your own self-leadership. The second question or practice is to redefine what responsible means to you, because quite often we've got that internal desire to do the right thing, to be responsible. We've got kids who want to set an example. What does responsible mean to us? Many of us think that being responsible means doing more, carrying more, stretching more, pushing ourselves more. But what if responsibility also meant protecting your energy, your asset, which is you? You are the asset in all of this. Preserving your health and well-being, staying present in the moments that matter in your life. So this week, I want you to try asking, what would responsibility look like if it actually included me? If I was a part of that, what would that story look like? And so the third question or practice is to lead yourself like someone you love. This is a huge one, right? Notice what you expect of yourself that you wouldn't expect of somebody like your child, your friend, your partner, your spouse, and then ask, what would it look like to apply that same care, that same compassion to myself? What would that actually look like? So as you go through these questions this week, don't rush for answers. Simply let that leadership begin to evolve. Notice the patterns. And if you're noticing these patterns, it means that you are now awakening, that you are beginning to notice where the sustainable success can begin. So, until next time, lead yourself gently, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Thank you so much for listening. If something in today's conversation resonated with you, I want you to know this. You don't need to have it all figured out before you take your next step. This work is all about learning to lead yourself first in ways that honor your capacity, your work, your home, and yourself without burning out in the process. If you'd like to continue the conversation beyond the podcast, you're warmly invited to join Scholarly Mamas The Letter, a quiet monthly newsletter for mother scholars who value purpose beyond titles, presence at home, and peace within. You can sign up at scholarlymamas.com. And if you're feeling stuck, stretched, or just not where you want to be, you can book a free 30-minute call to help you gain clarity and explore what support might look like in this season to get from where you are to where you want to be. You can also connect with me on social media at Mrs. Mummy PhD, where I share reflections on ambition, motherhood, sustainable self-leadership, all the things for high-achieving mamas like yourself. This, mama, is the quiet work of scholarly motherhood, and these are our journeys of becoming.